And so with that being said, I believe if the church can just stay beautiful in the mission, I believe everything will work itself out.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you talk about consistency. Yeah, what does that look like for you at your church?
Sure. One of the things that I'm desirous of is getting outside of the four walls. And one of the things we did just this past weekend is we went out and served people. Right? Just, went out, nothing special without the bells and whistles. But I'll tell you what we did. We went to the laundromat and we took rolls of quarters, a bunch of quarters, detergent, right? Got dryer sheets, bleach, all these things. And we went in with bottled water, juice for the kids, like the cheese and crackers, goldfish crackers, those sorts of things. We went in and just administered. Can we pay for it? Can we help out? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we offer prayer? Et cetera, et cetera. In that setting, we went to a couple of different laundromats in the area right next to the church. And what we were able to accomplish was we were able to help, I'm going to say about 99% of the people that were there.
Wow.
And that was a tremendous blessing because now we have people asking, who are you? Where did you come from? Where's your church? I want to come. Can I have your phone number? And it was one of those things where you have to, and it's almost like you're fighting them off because they're proud of it. Everyone wants a piece of this because one, people love something free. But two, people love seeing kindness live, especially by the church. And that just melted the hearts of the people. And I'm just so grateful that we have a church body that is willing to go outside of the four walls and live the creed of true Christianity.
That's so practical. Going to the laundromat. I mean, people have got to just sit and wait anyway. And a lot of people go to laundromats because they don't have a washer and dryer at home, don't have opportunity, or maybe they're just broken. So, I mean, but you didn't go in, thumping them on the head with your Bible. You went in with practical things. Here's some detergent. Here's some quarters. Oh my gosh, last time I went to a laundromat, I couldn't believe how expensive it was. Oh, remember when you just put 50 cents in those things? And it's not like that anymore.
I love the practicality of it. I love the creativity of it. And I love the spiritual undergirding of it because you're going to a place where stuff's dirty. Clothes are dirty. And there's need for washing, right? And so again, people have a choice. So people can say, no, I don't want that. I don't want that help. Or people can say, hey, I would love that help. Thank you so much.
There was a gentleman that, if I may say, that we met, and he initially declined. He says, listen, I'm healthy enough to work and et cetera, help those that don't have or have the need. And then can we pray for you? And he says, yes, help me, pray for me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when he said what it was on his prayer request, I said, no, sir, you need this help as well. Take this to help you with your load because you're not even in the best condition or situation that you need to be in. And so, he after that, he took our help after initially declining it. But sometimes people have a little pride, et cetera, et cetera. But just, loving people in spite of, regardless of what's going on, I think it never grows old, right? Service never grows old. And so this is one of the things that I really wanted the church to do. And I have some other ideas, very practical, meeting people where they are in the marketplace.
Yes.
So that we can teach Christ, we can show Christ. Because I told the team, hey, if someone asks why are we doing this, because I want to show the love of Christ in a tangible way. Right? And that's where it's at. I got that from Ruthie Jacobs, an older lady, very sweet, that phrase, just share this. And so it's not only beautiful, but it's wonderful when you can actually implement it and see how receptive people are to the help. Because after that, people were coming up to us, we were leaving, and someone said, hey, I heard you all help you. Oh yeah, let us help you too. And so it's the beauty of the gospel in action, helping people.
Because people talk about, we're supposed to go share the gospel with everybody, and so they think that's like the four spiritual laws, or hey, you need Jesus, you've sinned, you need Jesus, you need to pray this prayer, blah blah blah, and they think that is the only part of the gospel. And Jesus would do what you're just talking about. He would, he showed up at a funeral, he showed up at the watering hole, at the well. He would show up at the places. On his way to somewhere, he's stopping by. And Lindsay always says this, she prays every day, God, who do you want me to go by today? And I've shared that at my work with my team. And I've prayed that now, Lindsay, since you said that, like, Lord, who do you want me to go by today? Because that was the way of Jesus. And that is the bigger picture of the gospel. So thank you. That is exactly what sharing the love of Jesus is about. It's much more than just saying, Jesus died for you and you need to pray and ask him to come into your heart, right? I mean, they're going to need to know somebody cares about them, period, before they listen to who it is you want to talk about.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think you can never go wrong with a little bit of elbow grease for the gospel.
Elbow grease for the gospel. I love it. I love that. And I also believe that you're modeling for the church body how to be more giving and to be more of an imitator of Christ with Christ's street ministry, right? And it's funny that you said you need to do things more outside of the four walls, because when I went back to church after COVID and I was still masked up, Ron didn't go with me that day. I was sitting in the balcony just by myself, and I couldn't praise. I couldn't pray. I couldn't, it was like, it was weird. It was just the weirdest thing. Sorry about the lack of vocabulary there, but it was just weird. But it was, well, no, it wasn't weird. It was a transition. It was a transition because the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, "You had all your training inside the bubbles. Now it's time to go outside the bubbles." It was a transitional period that I was in. And usually I'm just like, like music, the word, and I couldn't do anything. I was just at a standstill because Gary speak to my heart. And I came home and I told Ron, I said, "We got to get outside. We got to get and speak inside the church." I mean, not forsaking it, but because I believe that there's power in the assembly, and you don't want that one sheep that's off by themselves get jacked up by the wolf, right? But we started attending. There's something here in Huntsville, Alex, that's put on by the Generosity Foundation, Joe McKenzie, and he's from the what's the church, Joy?
He goes to Church of the Highlands.
Church of the Highlands. And so what this guy did is he started, pulling funds together, pulling resources together. And so he adopted one of our public housing sites, which is the largest public housing site for our organization, Huntsville Housing Authority. And he adopted the whole community. It was 400 something units, probably 1,100 something people. And they go out every week. They have about 35 guys that will fix your car on Saturday morning. For free. Awesome. They put up bouncy houses and water bouncy houses and all that kind of stuff for the kids. They have basketball, they have face painting, they have food, hot dogs and hamburgers and drinks and water and all that kind of stuff, and they play gospel music. Yeah. And he has asked all of these different pastors from different denominations to come and help. And they won't. So I love what you're doing because it's what Ron and I were doing in Long Beach. We have children's church outside and have petting zoos for the kids. We have signs that said, "Hey, need prayer," and people honk if you need prayer, or come drive through if you need prayer, and people would drive through, stop, have prayer, and we would give them a little steps to Christ, or a little something with a cookie or something in it that they could have. People would walk up off the street for prayer because people our souls are hungry. And they're thirsty for the answer, which is Christ.
Definitely. Let me just say this here, Lindsay and Joy. One of the things that I discovered is that when you go out into the marketplace, you don't have to be as technically, or let me say, as theological as you might think. People are out there hurting. They need healing. They need relief from suffering. And so let me say this to the visitor, viewer. You, my friend, as little as you may think you know about the gospel, if you can just say, "Jesus loves you and so do I," that there will go a long ways with whatever type of relief that you're trying to offer to the people. So be encouraged out there. You don't have to be able to recite all the books of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation and all these other things. Just go out there with a warm heart and with a passion and a burden for souls, and I believe the Holy Spirit will do the rest.
Yeah, and a heart, like you said, that and I think it was the second episode we did with you. You're talking to people with a like a meekness, a humble heart, not an arrogant spirit. And the other thing you said is that consistency. People don't want you to come in for an event and then leave and they never see you again. Because that says, "Oh, you're just my project for today. I'm coming to check this box and I'm out of here, pat myself on the back. I went and did a good thing." But this consistency, I love that. What are some other things you would say to the church today in living in this age? You mentioned something about you. I don't know if you said this on air or if you said this between sessions, but that for a while you just preached the news. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so whatever I saw in the news, like all these tragic things happening, the bad stuff that's going on in the world that speaks to the end time that we're living in. And so just taking that and just sharing it in a biblical context, because the Bible is so clear and it puts things, the Bible is like the weatherman. He tells you the future before it happens, right? It's going to rain, so you have your umbrella, but the Bible is telling you this is going to happen. And we can trust the Bible far more than the weatherman or weatherwoman, right? Yeah. And so, yes. So that's what I was doing, just taking what I see in the media on whether it's CNN or Fox or whomever, and just sharing it. And it sells itself.
I love that. I'll sit in sessions where people are, let's say, doing a Bible study or preaching or something, and I'm the one in the group that says, "Okay, tell me what that means when I walk out of this door. What am I supposed to do with that? Don't just give me knowledge about the Bible and about Jesus, but I'm going out here in 2026 into my neighborhood, to Walmart or wherever, explain to me what that means here." And I call it street level. Like, you're giving me this level up here. I need to know what to do when I walk out my yard or walk out the door or go to my workplace or whatever. And that's what I love that you preach the news. When you said it like that, I thought, yes, because that is the tangible hands and feet of Jesus. Because if they don't see it for something that makes sense today, what good is it? It's just history, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
It's a great connection too. No, I was just going to say it's a great connection with the people because they've already seen it on the news and now you're preaching it or you're teaching it or you're sharing it. And so it just really etches it even more so in their minds. And so what you see on television even today over in the Gulf, the strait there, and the blockage and the gas prices going up, and all these other things, it's pointing us that something cataclysmic, a watershed type of event is on the horizon, and we ought to be ready. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And I don't know about you, but I want to choose life. When you choose life like me, we can perish, or we can choose life. I like living, and I hope it stays this way, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have had
Well, I tried to repress it, then I carried its crown. I reached out to undress it, and love let me down. Love let me down. So I tried to erase it, the ink bled right through, almost drove myself crazy when these words led to you. And all these useless dreams are living long, like a darkless bone. So come let me love you. Come let me love you, and then color me. Well, I tried to control it and cover it up. I reached out to console it. It was never enough. Never enough. So I tried to forget it. It's all part of the show. Told myself I'd regret it, but what do I know about all these useless dreams of living long, like a dogless bone? So come let me love you. Come let me love you, and then color me. So come let me love you. Come let me take this through the end of all these useless dreams of living, all these useless dreams, all these useless dreams of living, all these come let me love you.
Capoeira is a form of martial arts from Brazil, and it's infused with dance.
Just like we want it, just like we need it. Why can't we? Just like who says we can't? Who says we can't? Who says we shouldn't? Who says we couldn't? Just like we love it. Why can't we? Just like couldn't we make it? Couldn't we make it? Couldn't we make it? Just like we want it, just like we need it. Why can't we? Just like who says we can't? Who says we can't? Who says we should? Who says we could? Make it just like we love it. Why can't we? Just like we
Well, I don't know if I'm wrong, she's only just gone. Here's to another relationship born by an excellent breed of gamete disease. Sure, when I'm older, I know what that means. Well, she cried when she should, she laughed when she could. Here's to the man with his face in the mud and overcast places, taken away from the lovers in love. At the center of the stage, yeah. Loving is fine if you've plenty of time, yeah, for walking on stills. At the edge of your mind, I said loving is good. If your dick's made of wool, and the dick left inside, you have understood. What makes her come? What makes her stay? What makes the animal run away? What makes him stop? What makes him stand? What only just gone. Tell me why is this day taking so long? I was a lover of time. When once she was mine, I was a lover indeed. I was covered in weed, and she cried when she should. She laughed when she could. Close to God is the one who's in love. I'll walk away 'cause I can. Too many options may just kill. Loving is fine if it's not in your mind. But I've fucked it up now. Too many times I've said loving is good if it's not understood. But I'm a professor and I feel that I should know just what makes her come, what makes her stay, what makes the animal run, what makes him take apart from his wing and the lonely side of the jealousy stick. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, no. Here's to another relationship bombed by my excellent breed of gamete disease. I finished it off with some French wine and cheese. La France, quand elle joue avec moi, et je pense que je l'aime des fois. Le silence nous balade quand on est ensemble. Mettre les mots sur la vie danse quand elle joue avec moi et la pluie me montre quoi. Non, non, c'est la chanson, la nuit, le vent, l'amour et le sang. D'un petit
God of creation, there at the start. no point of reference. You spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of life. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to worship so loud, I can see your heart in everything you've made. Every burning star, a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises all night, so God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you say. If it all reveals to nature so light, I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, a canvas of your grace. Creation still obeys you so loud. So will If the stars were made to worship so loud, if the mountains bow in reverence so loud, if the oceans roar your brightness so loud, for if everything exists to lift you high, so loud. If the wind goes away, send it so loud. If the rocks cry out in silence so loud, if the sound of all our praises still falls shine, then we'll sing again 100 billion times. God of salvation, you chased down my heart to more than my favorite pride. On the hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear. Well, you lost your life so I could find it.
We've wanted to be trusty and true, but feathers fell from our wings, and we've wanted to be worthy of you, but weather rained on our dreams, and we can't take back what is done, what is past. So fellas, lay down your fears, 'cause we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let's start from here. We never wanted to be lusty or lewd, nor tethered to prudish strength. We never wanted to be jealously tuned, nor withered into ugly things. And we can take back what is done, what is past. So fellas, lay down your spears, 'cause we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us start from here. come with fear, come with love, come however you are. Just come alone, come with friends, come with foes, come however you are. Just come alone, come with me, then let go. Come however you are. Just come alone, come so carefully close. Come however you are. Just come. Come with sorrows and songs. Come however you are. Just come alone. Come let yourself be wrong. Come however you are. Just come in sorority, be calm. Come let yourself be wrong. Come in sorority, be calm. Come let yourself be wrong. Come in sorority, be calm. Wait for me there, hand like a look in the air. Your bright blue eyes, like a green traffic light up ahead. I'm coming, I swear. Just gotta comb my hair, push my way to the crushing weight on my chest. I won't go back to all that trouble I
everything is now. I know everything is right now. And the loneliness is a lie. So nothing weighs a ton. I know nothing weighs a fucking ton. That half of the bed, empty like a page, all the cursive claims you've yet to make, all the promising lines, bending like a spine, all the whiteness that your pen could write. Get these bandages off. You can stand, you can walk. Leave these towels and gauze. You get up, you get out into the sun. That's where we belong. Been in too long. All our weaknesses are cold and strong, and the winter always ends with water on your lips. The April rain comes swinging in. Bandages off. Let me stand, let me walk. Leave these towels.
to make a YouTube channel voted to talking about Christianity and socialism and where I see overlap and my personal thoughts on the subject. And I haven't done it. I haven't done it for many months, as I have just thought, oh, I should do it like this. I should do it like that. Oh, I should have everything planned just right before I start. And that hasn't been working because I haven't started. I've just thought about it. So that's not good. So I'm just going to stream of consciousness, say it right here, what I plan to do, and then just try and get going with it and not try and be perfect. So I think that there is a lot of overlap between Christianity and socialism, and that Christians should be striving to make political changes. They should take their Christian values and they should bring them into wherever they have influence in the world. If it's a democracy that you live in and you have a vote, that you should be informed by your values with that vote, and that there's no simple answer of like, this is the perfect policy that is what Jesus Christ would do. But there's principles that I think we can more conclusively talk about, and that a Christian perspective towards politics has to be biased in favor of the oppressed lower class, and that's going to mean being on the left politically. Might do being on the left in a radically different way than the way secular people have envisioned how to help the lower class or how to have the lower class in charge. But your goal should be to help the lower class break free from their oppression. I mean, that's what Jesus came to do, is to liberate. And that's what we should strive to do too. And I think, when Christ came, he had the gospel, the good news for people, because they were all well aware of the bad news. They were under this brutal occupation by an unimaginably powerful empire, Rome, where they really only had the choice to submit to this stronger power and suffer. And so they were all like well aware of kind of their position in the world and how it wasn't good. And I feel like in today's world, if we're preaching the gospel, it almost feels like we've got to tell the bad news and the good news, because people have convinced themselves that things are good, and they're not. They're not good at all. But a lot of us live in such a just privileged little bubble that it can feel good because we're disconnected from all of the ways that it's bad, particularly if we're living in the United States, if we're white, if we're wealthy. These things keep us from seeing the world as it really is. And that leads to kind of half-assed approaches of trying to change the world, because the system as it is working kind of nicely for me. So I just don't have that like crushing need to change things immediately because I'm living under brutal oppression, though that is changing more each day. But if I care about the state of everyone in the world, then it becomes obvious that people are living under ruthless oppression by extremely powerful and wealthy capitalist imperialist oppressors. And a lot of people just kind of don't want to talk about that, but that is what's going on. And so political discussion in my country, the United States, it doesn't really seem to acknowledge that. It kind of maintains a myth that the United States of America is a good country that is doing good things in the world, spreading democracy or justice or something along those lines. But we can see that that's not happening. It's kind of a nice thing to believe that lets us off the hook for what our country is doing in our names with our blessing, with our votes. So I think people need to get a reality check as to what the United States of America is. And then once you have that understanding and you see just the extent of oppression in the world from capitalism, you have to ask yourself, well, how do we change that? How do we actually liberate people, and what's the right course of action? And I think it's an embarrassment to the church that we've had this mission to liberate the poor and the oppressed. We've had it for 2,000 years and haven't really taken it seriously. Like, not that the church doesn't help people. The church does help people a lot. But it just hasn't really strove for that liberation and actually ending oppression. It's been more just applying a Band-Aid and kind of going along with what powerful people wanted. And that needs to change. We need to become radical. And the embarrassment for us is that we've had this mission for so long and really done very little in terms of systems to really build a better world that serves the poor and the oppressed. We just haven't really done it. We haven't thought about it and studied it and said, what's the best path to do this? Instead, we've just said, well, we're supposed to, so like feed the hungry and tend to the sick. Those are good things. But we haven't put thought into how do we end the systems that are making people hungry and homeless and not caring for them. And that's been a huge failure on our part. And now we have actually the secular world with Marxism coming in and taking a secular approach to the same question. Okay, what do we actually do to liberate the poor, the oppressed, the proletariat? What are we going to do? And they've studied and experimented and had great successes in places in the world. And meanwhile, the Christian church at large has just responded with extreme condemnation of like anything to do with Marxism, even though it really has the same goal as we do. And that's not to say that like Marxists haven't done things for the church to disapprove of. They've done lots of things for the church to disapprove of, but it's just disproportionate. The level of disapproval from the church has been off the charts, whereas the level of disapproval that the church has for the dominant system in the world, capitalism, that has caused far, far, far more harm, it's just not there. And what we need to do is completely reject capitalism because capitalism, it's literally mammonism. Like, mammon is great wealth. Capital is great wealth. We literally have a system of mammonism that churches at best will criticize on the very margins and say, oh, capitalism could do this a little better, I guess, but not calling out that the system itself depends on oppression to function. And if we had taken time to study it, we could have learned that. We could have developed our own theory of socialism, but we didn't. We failed at that, and we let the secular world do all of that exploration themselves. And so what did they come up with for answers? Well, what is reasonable with worldly logic? It's, you want to liberate people, you're going to arm the people, and you're going to fight, and you're going to win. And with that, determined, violent resistance, you can win. And sure enough, they have won by doing that to some extent. But we as Christians can see that there's a different path towards liberation that doesn't involve this ruthless fighting for survival, which, if any violence is justified, it's the most revolutionary violence against oppressors is the most justifiable kind. I am a pacifist, so I don't believe any is, but if we're going to celebrate any people who are fighting, soldiers, people who are fighting against capitalists are the ones that we should be celebrating. And that doesn't mean that they're doing everything right, but we should recognize that, as far as the worldly struggle goes, they are the ones on the right side. That is the side of the oppressed. And what we can do as the church is show a better way by giving up on this lie that we're living, that it can somehow be okay to support this mammonist system that we have. We need to just give up on that altogether and embrace radically rejecting it. That doesn't mean that you have to accept Marxism. Read about Marxism, and if you've got critiques of it, make those critiques. But you got to have the critique of capitalism. Capitalism is the oppressive force in our world today, and if we're not speaking out against it, we're a joke. The oppressed people aren't going to see us as their allies, their neighbors. We're their enemies. We're the ones helping the capitalists to oppress them. And we're paid off for it, basically, by all of these fancy iPhones and absurd products that we get out of capitalism that we don't need. But that's kind of the hush money to keep us from making any noise, is to say, well, enjoy what you've got. Imagine if you were in one of these other places that we brutally oppress, you would have a real rough life and you wouldn't be able to afford these things. But we're responsible for that rough life that they have with the systems that we've allowed to control everything in this global economy. And so we just need to actually open our eyes and recognize, what is the real source of evil and oppression in this world, and take a firm stance against it, instead of this kind of wishy-washy, oh, well, we're not political, we don't want to get into that, even though one of the dominant political ideology in the world we live in is one that is literally mammonism. You cannot serve God and mammon. But here we are, like, yeah, it's fine if our whole system is mammonism. It's not. And if you find that, you think there's a better way to replace it, then what Marxist theorizers have come up with and developed and experimented, like, you should propose that. But you can't get away with pretending capitalism is okay. It's just not if you're on the side of oppressed peoples. And we can't keep on going on like this is some unresolved question with a difficult answer. It's not. And that's enough ranting about that. But I want to talk about that and try and build a bridge between Christians and socialists, because I think there's just fertile ground there for working together. But Christians are really going to have to come, head and hands, like, apologetically and beg for forgiveness for the centuries where the church has not really fully rejected these oppressive ideologies of the world. And if we can start with that, then we can prove through our actions that we have a better way of achieving revolution than socialists. But they have no reason to believe us right now because we're not doing it. And it makes sense for them to think that a peaceful revolution is impossible. This is the worldly wisdom that Paul talks about. So we shouldn't try and stop them from that. We just need to show a better path. So that's what I want to do for Christians is show that we can understand the state of the world and actually stand against oppression and demonstrate that the good news is that there is a way. Like, without Christ, I think there is still a way to overthrow oppressors, and Marxists have achieved that, and it's come at massive cost in human life. And the good news is that there is a better way that won't need that. But we have to demonstrate it as Christians, and they're only going to believe it when they see it from us. And that will glorify God. And, so that's what I want to bring to socialists is that kind of idea. And for Christians, I want to show how socialism is in line with Christian principles and why we shouldn't be afraid of it, and kind of debunk a lot of propaganda that's out there about it. But also just foster discussion on what is an actual path forward. Like, how do we make political change and, actually study the question of, like, what's the best way to do that the fastest? What is going to get results? And not just, be the kind of thing that I personally want to vote for. Like, I want to be organized and studying what's the best approach, and then learning, and when we have learned, to actually take those lessons into doing things. And socialists, they'll understand this. I want the process of dialectical materialism. Like, I want us to be engaged in that too, and I want us to also be engaged in dialectical spiritualism as well. Just made that up. I don't know if that makes sense. But that's what I want to talk about. I got a lot to say on the subject, so I just vented it here where nobody's even going to have heard it. But it will hopefully get me started.